So these guys are Shoke, S-H-O-K-E. When I make these videos, I always look at how many monthly listeners people have. The fact that Shoke, which is it's a duo, they only have 3,000 monthly listeners. And in 2022, they released one of my favorite minimal deep tech tracks called Coast to Coast. I found that track in a Michael Bibi set. Now, let's talk about Shoke and Michael Bibi for a second. Michael Bibi has rinsed these dudes like a towel. I'm talking, Michael Bibi was playing their unreleased stuff at One Life. Yeah. So this track is called Rock the Planet. It's off Rock the Planet EP. And tell me this is not just so minimal deep tech. They keep that tech house vibe. It's, people are going to yell at me for calling it minimal, but it keeps that groovy vibe. Let's call it groovy tech house, Last week, while I was looking for tracks for Immersive Groove, I listened to the Raw Grooves Volume 6, where I found this song. This is Take Over by Eric Chico. Eric Chico is a master of creative tension, and he's also fantastic with how he treated the female vocal sample here. I want you to listen to it. Here it comes, hands up. Just fantastic. Eric Chico, by the way, is someone with incredible music. You should check him out. He doesn't even have you might be his 1,000th listener on Spotify because he has 813 listeners. And shout out to Solid Grooves Raw for putting on amazing artists like this. Eric Chico, Take Over. Check it out. In my last video, I talked about Eric Chico, and I mentioned that he's good at tension. Okay, we're going to see who sticks around until the end of this video. This is a masterclass in creating tension before a drop, okay? Check this out. We're going to see who sticks around. I got my iced Americano. You think it's gonna drop? Come on. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me with that? How it tricks you into thinking it's going to drop and then it doesn't drop. It's like, and that's such an elementary way to think about drops, but I think it really depends what happens right before that drop that really kind of tricks you, that makes you think it's going one way but then it ends up going the other. In music production, there's something called a Shepard tone, and if you've seen the movie Inception, you know what a Shepard tone is. It's the sound that just sounds like it's continuously rising forever. It's rising in perpetuity. I found this track when I was listening to a Golfos set. This is a Beltran track off of Solid Grooves Raw. It's called Unfair, and it just feels like it just keeps going. And it always feels like it's rising and rising and rising. I don't know if this would technically be a Shepard tone, but I don't care. To me, this is a Shepard minimal tech groove, I guess. It's so sick. Just listen to that. Gonna drop in a second. It's so incredible. And I mean, Beltran is just so creative. Fantastic music. Shout out to all my Portuguese friends, all my Brazilian friends sending me tracks. There's something in the water in Brazil, I swear, because they're making some of the best house music. I'm going to be vulnerable for a second here and admit that I teared up a little bit when I saw the Luca Dea, I hope I'm saying that right, video of Beltran playing this in a club. Just the way that Beltran was using the RMX. just cranking the snare, because the thing with this song is that, in my opinion, Smack Yo by Beltran put Beltran, I don't know how to say it, on the map. And just seeing this fellow just crank the freaking snare at a club, it's like, what a recognition of accomplishment, you know? Like, everybody knows that song, and it's just like, it's so cool to see an artist like really celebrate and, you know, call it a snare enabled celebration. Like, it's just so cool to see that. And and also I love this song, Smack Yo by Beltran, off of Solid Grooves. I've always said that gatekeeping your own songs gatekeeping other people's songs is ridiculous because you didn't make them. But I admit it. Hands up, I admit it. I've kind of been gatekeeping this track. It's off of Solid Grooves Raw. It's Don't Mess with the 808 by Sosa. Let's just listen to it for a second.
Let me catch my breath.
This track, in my opinion, is one of those tracks that it's like a penny stock. It's like, you should have invested in this a long time ago, because it was like it had a lot of value in the future. And honestly, I've put this track on so many immersive grooves, it kind of near the beginning, that like I don't really touch it that much anymore, because, you know, there's other tracks to look at. But this track is like, it's so hard hitting. Like, come on. You can really put that in, like, just the peak of a set. Like, this obviously is not peak time house, but it's just, like, so, like, it's just so cool. It's almost like you're listening to a rap song. It just makes you feel cool, you know? This is a Pasta track that you might not know about. When he came out with it, I listened to it once, and, you know, I liked it, but then I sort of put it down and rediscovered it a few years later. Just listen to how this is a masterclass in chopping vocals. It's called Bougie.
Like a model in my Lou West, no lows, wanna take control. Hit the runway like Naomi. You're working out your BCBGs. Yeah, I know they look good on me. Grab some BPs from Kamora, cause I'm a shoe fanatic. I just gotta have it. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Well, one thing I've always said about Pasta is that Pasta's music is like modern art. Like, you go to a museum and you might look at a picture of a blank canvas and say, oh, I can do that. Okay, then do it. Because your art isn't the art that's on the wall, you know? But Pasta's music, you listen to it and it almost sounds so simple. Hard-hitting kick, clap, a few snares, but what goes into it must just be, you know, modern art. A few years ago, I discovered an unknown genre. You might know about it. I call it funny house, where it's just a house groove and then the vocal samples are just funny. I have a whole playlist on just called Funny House. This one is Mr. Snifferson. It's on Solid Grooves. It's by Luca M and Just 2. Michael Bibby opened it at maybe a Creamfields a few years ago. Listen to the lyrics. They're very, very goofy.
Hey, 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 hey. Get in, hey, clip per clip, hey. One day, met with RE out in rich.
I swear it gets funny in a second.
Only ever wished, pretty face and bubbly tits. Sick, all the toilets getting sniffed.
Like, on the toilets getting sniffed. Like, just so goofy. Like, it's so ridiculous. I'll make a few more videos on Funny House.
All the toilets getting sniffed.
You're supposed to use reference tracks when you produce music. I've been listening. Okay, so let's just listen to this for 1 second. Hold on. Now, this I tried to use this as a reference track, and it did not go well. Here's what I made. The reason that I wanted to use this track as a reference track is just because it's so hard hitting. Like, I love when house has a techno vibe, and I'm not saying that this sounds like techno, you know, don't come after me in the comments. I know this is obviously not techno music, but the attitude that techno music brings is something that this track brings, just like that coolness. There's a coolness factor, and I also love how and maybe this is where I went wrong in my production. There's not really like a bass line. It's just the kicks are they carry a long enough tail to be the bass line. But I don't know. I think I might have just used too much reverb or kick tight or something. Shout out to Jay Crusoe and Alan Shee for the kick tight recommendation though. And this is Break It Down by Carlo Leo and DJ Boris. There's a Pretty Lights interview where he explains that using saxophones and trumpets and other horns of the like are amazing for the peak moments in a track. So this track, it's called Back to House by Carlo, and the whole tension area, the whole time before the drop, the break, the turnaround, if you want to call it that, it's just horns, and they're going off. I mean, listen to this. I'm gonna add some snare. Sorry, Carlo. That's just fun. I feel like the drop kind of takes the energy away, but maybe that was on purpose. I don't know. I mean, you know, I'm not Carlo. I'm not the person who made this, but the tension of this song is just so good. And now the groove is going. There we go. Before I started listening to Dennis Cruz, I thought that he was all Latin house music. Nothing wrong with Latin house music. I love Latin house music. There's a lot of amazing Latin house music out there. And when I started listening to Dennis Cruz, I wasn't necessarily wrong about that. But I discovered that Dennis Cruz really has, like, ooh, hold on. He really has almost like a dark side to him. This track is called Shake It. It's off the Bad Behavior EP. Just listen to this. It's a lot better with headphones, by the way. Like, that is just so, it's dark. Is that not just dark? You know, and it's the type of music that really will lock you in. Nonetheless, I mean, this is definitely not like Ay Caramba, El Bonito, you know what I mean? Like, wow, I sound like such a gringo. But nonetheless, like, this is a side of Dennis Cruz that is worth exploring. He has a lot of music like this. I was exploring the internet for tracks for Immersive Groove, and I found Balanca. We actually ended up connecting on social media. I was going through his track list, and I found this track. It's called Psychedelic People. Really, really great stuff. And he doesn't have that many tracks out, which is why you should get into him now, you know, kind of invest early. Really, really great music. Definitely worth looking into. Artist is Balanca. I admit it. My hands are up. I doom scroll. Okay? Often, the doom scrolling is because I find cool things on the internet. And this is Feelin' Low by Marshall James. Let's listen for a second. Just a great kind of R&B male vocal here. And the reason that I want to talk about Marshall James in general is just because he's putting in the work. I'm a big believer in having a great work ethic, and this guy puts out a lot of social media content, but more to the point, he's making amazing music. So he's doing what you're supposed to be doing here. You know what I mean? He's marketing. He's marketing himself, and he has a great product. So, you know, this track is going to be on the upcoming Immersive Groove, if it's not already out, depending on when you're watching this. Marshall James, Feelin' Low. Respect. Great job putting in the work.
Just like
About 2 years ago, I fully focused my efforts on house music when it comes to Graham Radio. Around that time, a lot of producers started to send me music. Dayton was one of those producers, and he has stayed so consistent. He just got back from being in Japan for the last year or two in the military, and he started a duo with his dad called Dark Disco that just released their first EP.
I just say whatever I feel like.
That's right.
It's great stuff. It's called Escapism, and you should absolutely check it out. I have been rinsing Disco Dayton for a very long time, and now that his dad has joined the fray, I mean, it is just so cool. So check out Dark Disco. They're going to be putting out a lot of stuff in the future, so stick around. My hands are up. I have something to admit. I did not know who Sade was before I started listening to Soulection maybe 7 or 8 years ago. Since then, I mean, there's been a million Sade, I really hope I'm saying her name right, remixes of many of her songs. And I just want to say, you can never have enough Sade. Am I saying that right? I swear if I'm not saying that right, people are going to laugh at me in the comments. But you can never have enough remixes of this artist. Just listen to this vibe. Come on. It's just like the ultimate, like, jazz club, sipping on some wine, groovin', movin'. I can't think of anything else that rhymes with oovin', schmoozin'. It's so good. Sade never fails to disappoint, and the remixes just keep coming, and they're just quality. This is the Francis remix of Kiss of Life, by the way. The Pink Bag Panther movement in Miami has just been wonderful. So Pink Bag Panther is now a record label. It started off as a meme page about 2 years ago. The meme page took off, and it's all very nuanced jokes about loving Pausa and Chase West and being in the front left of Club Space. I mean, it's so niche, but it's like blown up because there's a lot of people in that niche, you know? So they started putting out records maybe a year ago, and Dan Molinari is all over them. So check this out. This just came out. And the thing that I love about their sound is, like, they almost know that it's okay. Like, I hate to use the word goofy or even funny, but it's just like, it's like this cool casualness. It's like an inside joke, which I brought up on another video, but it's like, there's just something about it that's just like, it makes you smile, you know? I used to get in a lot of trouble at my DJ agency. I was a part of a DJ agency called the Music Bureau in Tampa, and they're incredible. Like, they run some of the best stuff in Tampa. They run Embered, they run Postcard Inn, they run all these amazing venues in Tampa, the music there. A lot of these venues, you're supposed to play, you know, more like minimal deep tech stuff. I got in trouble for playing too much minimal deep tech. Sorry, DJ Camo, love you. But the reason I'm bringing this up, I found this EP by someone named Breadman on SoundCloud, and it's just great remixes of like kind of top 40 stuff. Listen to this. And there's 3 other tracks on the EP. I'm not going to play them just because I want you to, like, go and listen to it. But it's the Wonder Pack by Breadman. Just great remixes of top 40 stuff. In 2014, I was a pledge at a fraternity. As a pledge, you're expected to spend time in the brothers' rooms. That's what the members are called, brothers. I will never forget being in one of the brothers' rooms and hearing the most amazing kind of synthy, lo-fi beats. I asked him, what is this? And he said that we're listening to Soulection. What is Soulection? It's a radio show. They put out a 2-hour radio show every week. They've been doing it since, I believe, 2011. At that moment, me in that brother's room, a little pledge in 2014, that began a 10-year journey of me finding out about Soulection, me diving into the artists. And what we're listening to is an artist that Soulection has rinsed a lot. The song is actually called Rinse. Artist is Jared Jackson. you don't listen to Selection, I highly recommend checking them out. In 2021, I reached out to House Hats, which is a house music promotion company, to send me a house artist that I could interview. They sent me the person who would become like one of my best friends, my bestie, Jay Crusoe. At the time, Jay Crusoe did not exist. He came over as Intermock, which is his base alter ego, but he created Jay Crusoe maybe like 6 months after our interview. The interview is still on YouTube, by the way. I want to talk about Jay Crusoe because about 6 months ago, he released Discovery EP. We're going to listen to it for just a second. And what's really cool about this is that usually he releases singles. This is technically an album. Look it up on Spotify. It's called Discovery. It's an album on Spotify. I know it's just called. I just said it's an EP, but nonetheless, the tracks on it are incredible. And also, I did the art. Isn't the art cool? Look at that. Isn't that cool?